Today in the show, Fabrizio Romano faces a total ban following manipulation allegations, while Zion Suzuki turns down PSG to join Aston Villa. Liverpool triggers a walkout from Bradley Barcola as they prepare a cunning scheme. We talk about all this and much more right now. PSG has wrapped up a massive squad overhaul, building colossal roster depth for Luis Enrique ahead of the new season kickoff. The crown jewel of the Parisians' summer campaign became the officially completed transfer of 26-year-old Spanish Barcelona forward Ferran Torres, who inked a 5-year contract through June 2031 and took the number 9 shirt. The overall financial package totaled 50 million euros, with a guaranteed base sum of 45 million euros and the remaining 5 million euros structured as performance add-ons. This payout format allowed the Blaugrana to avoid paying additional sell-on percentages to Manchester City. PSG set their sights on Torres long before the 2026 World Cup, with Luis Enrique himself proving the decisive factor, a manager the player spoke of with immense warmth.
I have always said, for me, Luis Enrique was like a father in the football world. When I had the opportunity to train under him in the national team, he always gave me tremendous confidence.
Furthermore, PSG finalized the signing of 21-year-old Belgian Ajax left winger Mika Götze. The transfer package stands at 50 million euros, with the player signing a long-term 5-year contract. The Parisian scouting department monitored the Belgian for several consecutive years, so his arrival aligns fully with the Parisians' new philosophy of recruiting young, high-tech talents capable of delivering immediate results while appreciating significantly in market value. Beyond this, PSG bought out 24-year-old French Monaco attacking midfielder Magnus Akliouche for 50 million euros, who already made his debut in the UEFA Super Cup match. Meanwhile, the defensive rotation line for a dense League One and Champions League schedule was fortified by 33-year-old Aston Villa left-back Lucas Digne, who returned to Paris for 7 million euros on a 3-year deal. Such a massive attacking recruitment drive and an excess of wide options effectively opened the door for Bradley Barcola's departure. However, things are not so simple. As Liverpool began acting far more cunningly in the chase for the Frenchman, we will cover the details of this sneaky scheme shortly. At the same time, this large-scale spending is accompanied by an equally impressive asset clearance to balance the wage bill. PSG has already recouped substantial capital through outgoing moves. Portuguese central forward Gonçalo Ramos was sold to Milan for 74 million euros. French forward Randal Kolo Muani moved to Juventus for 41,200,000 euros, while attacking midfielder Lee Kangin departed for Atletico Madrid for 40 million euros. PSG hit a high-profile scandal within their own transfer command center. Insider assurances regarding a closed deal for 23-year-old Parma, Japanese goalkeeper Zion Suzuki, collapsed within hours. As late as August 11th, a loud "Here we go" from Fabrizio Romano assured the audience that a 35 million euro transfer package was agreed and a private jet was dispatched to Italy. However, the plane returned empty, talks were called off, and insiders instantly picked up a convenient club narrative about unreasonable agent commission demands. Yet imagining that PSG's Qatari owners with unlimited funds suddenly scrapped a deal over relative pocket change in commissions when the player was already sitting on his bags is a basic media smokescreen to save face after Romano and the Parisians received a public rejection. The genuine reason behind the deal's collapse is that Suzuki proved to be an exceptionally prudent individual with cold calculation, simply turning down the French giant. PSG's blueprint of signing a contract and sending him out on an immediate dry loan to Juventus without any first-choice guarantees meant a direct risk of getting trapped in a spiral of endless loans for the promising keeper. Meanwhile, Luis Enrique himself set strange priorities. Instead of making Suzuki a full-fledged number 1 and removing unstable options like Lucas Chevalier and Matvei Safonov, the Spanish manager tried to turn the goalkeeper into a mere asset for multi-club rotations. In parallel, the player's entourage executed a brilliant move. Before Suzuki could even say his final no to PSG, Aston Villa emerged on the horizon seemingly out of nowhere. Quite unexpected, right? The Japanese keeper had not even left talks with the Parisians before practically becoming the Birmingham side's starting goalkeeper for many years to come. Purely a coincidence, of course. In reality, Suzuki's representatives had long held indirect contacts with the English club and made the only correct choice. Within a couple of hours, the Birmingham side matched the €35 million bid, offering the Japanese player a full starting role in the Premier League under Unai Emery rather than questionable loan journeys. What is more, current first-choice keeper Emiliano Martinez is already preparing his exit, with Juventus re-inquiring about the Argentine, albeit hesitating over his physical condition following the World Cup. This case serves as a clear marker that the era where insiders sell us club-driven PR versions under the guise of truth is coming to a definitive end, while footballers increasingly choose genuine sporting development over a golden cage. However, the saga over Zion Suzuki's blocked transfer proved to be merely the start of major trouble for Fabrizio Romano himself, as his long-standing transfer empire suffered a devastating reputational crash. The world's largest football community on Reddit, r/soccer, which boasts nearly 9 million subscribers, enacted a total ban on all posts and links to his content. The subreddit's moderators accused the Italian of systematically appropriating the work of others, presenting exclusives from smaller regional writers as his own scoops without crediting sources, endless spamming with empty updates, and doing paid work for agents. Despite Romano possessing the largest contact network in the football world, he increasingly turns to blatant manipulation to belittle colleagues and preserve his status as the sole source of truth. A prime example was the situation surrounding 25-year-old Brazilian Arsenal winger Gabriel Martinelli. When respected insider Florian Plettenberg of Sky Germany broke an exclusive regarding an official €45 million offer from Galatasaray, Romano claimed in his daily video that these rumors were baseless and that negotiations never existed. The Italian resorted to an elementary trick. Instead of honestly confirming the documentation sent from Turkey, he shifted focus to the player's personal refusal to move to the Turkish league, framing it as an exposure of fake news by his German colleague. This created a false impression among a multi-million audience that other journalists simply fabricate news out of thin air. The Italians' decision to announce a step back from round-the-clock news coverage starting September 2026 proved to be no sudden burst of fatigue, but a calculated, controlled retreat planned well in advance. Romano understood full well that the net was tightening. Top outlets like The Athletic and The Telegraph began strictly controlling their exclusives, while clubs publicly mocked his posts. It was precisely these developments that led Romano to speak of changing formats and scaling down his 24/7 operation. The era of building a media empire on other people's labor is officially over. Liverpool played a brilliant, calculated transfer combination, deliberately pausing negotiations with PSG over 23-year-old French winger Bradley Barcola. Instead of entering exhausting bidding wars and yielding to pressure over the Parisians' initial marked-up price tag of £145 million, the Merseysiders calmly stepped aside, holding full personal terms agreement with the footballer himself. The Merseysiders' sporting department calculated the situation several steps ahead, masterfully flipping the leverage in their favor. It all began when PSG spent nearly $100 million in advance to sign Ferran Torres and Mika Götze, who play in that exact attacking position. Having accumulated a surplus of wide forwards, the French giant fell into its own trap, with the situation forced to a point by the player's behavior. Barcola made it clear to the dressing room that his mind was at Anfield. He staged a walkout at the training ground, was dropped from the squad for the UEFA Super Cup match, and stopped smiling at training sessions altogether. The coaching staff's surrender was confirmed by Luis Enrique himself, who stated,
"If a player comes here without a smile, it is better to look for another solution."
Now PSG faces the threat of holding a toxic, dissatisfied footballer on a massive salary, forcing the Parisians to seek an exit to balance their wage bill. Having learned from the summer of 2025, when record signings of Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz, and Hugo Ekitike were completed, Liverpool's hierarchy is acting with ultimate pragmatism. The Merseysiders established their own financial ceiling at £100 million and plan to resume pressure on the Parisians during the final 10 days of the transfer window, when the deadline will force the French club to slash their asking price. Chelsea set a firm financial price floor on 25-year-old Senegalese central forward Nicolas Jackson, demanding €69 million for a permanent transfer. Currently, Aston Villa, Tottenham, and Atletico Madrid are actively monitoring the forward's situation. Purchased in the summer of 2023 from Villarreal for €37 million, the Senegalese remains a substantial asset for the Blues, so management at the English club refuses to lower asking prices or compromise on financial demands. It is reported that this steep price tag represents the primary hurdle for prospective buyers. For Aston Villa under Unai Emery, who previously managed Jackson in Spain, the forward represents an attractive option to bolster attack, whereas for Atletico Madrid, this figure is virtually prohibitive without major preceding sales. Milan has officially begun searching for placement options for 28-year-old French forward Christopher Nkunku after Ruben Amorim removed him from the first team and excluded him from general training. The Rossoneri established a price tag of €35 million for the striker to recoup last year's payout to Chelsea of €37 million plus €5 million in add-ons. Meanwhile, the club stands ready to consider an initial loan structured with an option or mandatory purchase clause. The primary battle for the Frenchman is unfolding in the German Bundesliga. Genuine interest is being shown by his former club RB Leipzig, where Nkunku delivered the finest stretch of his career, scoring 70 goals and winning Player of the Season honors. The Red Bulls seek to bring back a proven leader and are probing a loan formula. In parallel, Borussia Dortmund is actively tracking the situation, seeking a versatile performer for their attacking line. Beyond the German giants, representatives from Italian side Roma have established contact with the players' camp, alongside several Premier League and Spanish La Liga clubs exploring terms for a potential transfer.